I'd like to reopen the regular meeting of the Bronxville Board of Trustees for May 13th, 2024. Ask all to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have our quorum tonight. We're missing 2 of our board members due to work commitments and illness. But we are here, and I want to start with my report and start with spring in Bronxville. Not only is the village beautiful, but there's just incredible, joyous events. And I think sometimes I was thinking we forget that after almost 3 years of COVID, which really hurt the fundraising ability of our organizations that are helping people all around the village, frankly serve some much needed programs, we have had a wonderful continuum of events. Just examples. Mary McIntosh, an incredible volunteer extraordinaire, was honored by the Counseling Center. Meryl and John Hill are going to be honored by Gramerton Village on June 6th. Our incredible library had a hugely successful benefit, and that group is just so energized. And what a night that was. The Women's Club celebrated a wonderful party. We were all there, along with many of our local dignitaries, for their 99th anniversary. And just last weekend, the Rotary Club honored John Precinct. And John will also be, which leads into our Memorial Day parade, he will be our Grand Marshal. John is a 50-plus year resident of the village and a veteran of the Korean War. And our Memorial Day parade will start 8:45, Monday the 27th, and I think it's the 102nd Memorial Day parade, one of the longest in Westchester. Also important, the school board, a budget vote and election is on May 21st, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. in the usual spot for all of us in the gym over at the school. And I want to mention just thinking of things prior to our June meeting, is going to be the annual sidewalk sale for our merchants, and that will be May 31st and June 1st, rain or shine, from 10 to 5. And our farmers market, which I probably should have mentioned last month, it opened this past Saturday, and it will be open until Thanksgiving, every Saturday, rain or shine, 8:30 to 1 p.m., down by the paddle courts. And I just want to leave you with thoughts that, again, asking you, this time of year is great for all of us. We start thinking of the summer, but we also have to think for our merchants, this becomes a quiet time of year. So just think about doing some summer shopping. You can even, believe it or not, get your child's textbooks before you leave. Our merchants just need help, and end of June, July, and August are tough months for them. So just please keep shopping local. And that is my report, and I'll, Trustee Knapp, anything? I know when we get to items on the agenda.
Yeah. Well, just speaking of quiet time, our leaf blower ban is going into effect on May 15th, if that's
Yes.
right? So a couple more days. So,
Right. Good point.
That's
Thank
good
you.
news from May 15th to October 15th. No more gas-powered blowers. Just a couple of, well, we have a lot of, as we usually do, green initiatives on to be discussed. One of the things that the Green Committee is spearheading with our local Chamber of Commerce is the upon request campaign. Ellen is here, so she and the Green Committee and Stephen and I think Jim, you were involved in these materials that are being produced now, information that will be that the Green Committee and the Chamber of Commerce will be providing to all the food establishments in town with stickers that will go on the bags. I believe in September, Westchester County passed a law that single-use plastics will no longer be included in the bags when people make orders, online or over the phone. So they have to be specifically requested. So this is a campaign, I think a really useful campaign to educate the businesses and the consumers that they need to request these items now. They won't be just included in the bag. So these will be distributed to all the food merchants, Ellen, is that correct? And then the stickers will go on the bags so that consumers can really understand and not be upset when they see an order perhaps without a fork in it. They didn't specifically request ahead of time. Just another, the Take Back Day, was that a little too close? Take Back Day will be on June 1st from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. with the mobile shredder in the elementary school parking lot and additional items available to be dropped off in Village Hall, behind Village Hall. And Ellen, there'll be like a specific list of items that will be needed or requested on the.
Jim and Mary just saw the article that's going to go in my hometown next week that lists everything. And so we're doing soccer equipment as well as some kitchenwares this time for refugees when this gets settled, as well as the usual electronics and clothing.
Maybe I'm just going to repeat that you said there's going to be soccer gear and kitchen equipment as well as the usual electronics. And the article, it's a fabulous article, so concise, so organized. Ellen just sent it, but it adds more things that people can recycle, and thank you. And Trustee Behrens, anything?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. With the return of the good weather, Mulpey Park is seeing a lot of usage and a lot of happy kids in town running around. We added additional 1-hour parking in the Mulpey lot and can be accessed via Paxton Avenue, so we wanted to make residents aware of that. And we also want to remind them, please do not park on the hashtags where there's no parking on Paxton. That is not parking available for residents using the park. The park is open from dawn to dusk, as it has been, and I really want to give special thanks to the BBC, the Bronxville Beautification Council, and families from the Bronxville School who pitched in to help to weed out, do weeding out of the perennial beds at the park. And then secondly, the police department, the chief is actually here, the police department held their first annual pickleball day event with the community on April 27th. They did it over at the paddle courts. 6 members, I believe, of the department played. Many members of the community came out to support the community, to support the police, and also to learn and play pickleball, get a chance to play against the police officers. And a fun time was had by all. And rumor was the police chief might have even won a game at the end of the day. So, that is a good accomplishment by all.
I think that might be a rumor.
Yeah. Unsubstantiated rumor.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. That's all I had.
All righty, and Mr. Palmer, who has been working, I have to say, the budget. Our treasurer is here, Lori Voss. They worked every weekend on the budget. We got that done. And now you're both doing between grants, and Mr. Palmer helping with our downtown restaurants. For a small village, we have the same issues just in our own microcosm as they do anywhere. And a chance for me to thank you both and to thank the police chief who came tonight to join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. On that note, yes, just a reminder for everyone in the community that regarding the outdoor dining, the board did approve design standards following recommendations from the consultant street plans. There's been some information in my hometown, Bronxville, and the information on the design standards that the board decided on, along with the results from the survey and some other information, is available on the village website under the trustees page, and I think that will be helpful. And because again, the board and the village staff have received a lot of feedback on the outdoor dining, so we appreciate everyone's patience. The board has worked to try to strike a balance, recognizing the benefit of it, but also recognizing some of the other challenges. So most recently, the planning board has heard a couple applications and has already made a determination on El Baccio. El Baccio will be reducing the scope of their outdoor dining, and they'll be ordering their materials that were in the design standards, including the bollards. Pete's Tavern has removed their on-street dining. They're going to be ordering materials for eventually for their one area. Underhills, and so the applications are going before the planning board. They're getting there. I think the community will be thrilled with the final product when the new establishments are in place with certain conformity, including removal of those existing concrete blocks and the placement of the bollards, while being safe at the same time. So just wanted to mention that and appreciate everyone's patience while we work through the transition. Yes, in addition to the budget, I think it's just most important that I update everyone on two items that we also often talk about, but just to let everyone know that while you might not see anything immediately in progress, we are working on the two items, and those are, again, the village's stormwater infrastructure and the village's sanitary sewer infrastructure. First, with the simplest one, the sanitary sewer infrastructure. We continue to have a contract with Green Mountain Pipeline Services to work toward lining all of our critical sanitary sewer principal trunk lines. And again, the reason for that is just like for residential properties, we want to look at the integrity of our lines and then be able to clean them, televise them, and then line them so they last for the next 100 years. It's a proven technology that absolutely works. So most recently, over the course of the last few weeks, we did have to close down a portion of Palmer in the early morning hours and coordinated that with the police department so Green Mountain Pipeline could televise the lines. And this is a challenge because the sanitary sewer lines go right down the middle of the street and it's a very busy corridor. But we're finally at a point now where that additional work was done, and the final lining will be done over the summer. So that's progress for the sanitary sewer system. Again, not something that everyone sees, but very important, just as we're requesting that homeowners take ownership of their lateral lines. We're trying to make sure that there's no stormwater entering our sanitary sewer line, or likewise, any exfiltration entering the stormwater system of the sanitary sewer. Onto the stormwater, multiple projects, and it's, again, progress being made. Let's start with down at the Bronx River. The village, thanks through a program through Resilient New York, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation has been, through a consultant, studying the entire Bronx River corridor from the village up towards Greenberg. I understand from just last Friday that the draft report is done from the consultant SLR. DEC wants to have a couple weeks to review it, and then hopefully they will share it with the village. We've made multiple recommendations to be included in that draft report, and then hopefully we'll have more to update the community on over the summer. But again, the principal purpose of that study was to come up with short and long-term solutions to address flooding along those problem areas at Paxton and Parkway Road. One possible solution that we hope will be included in the draft report would be the potential of a berm along the Bronx River between Exit 1 and Palmer Ave, which would help minimize the flooding or get that corridor from Stone up to Palmer to a 10-year event, which would be very helpful to those businesses. So again, that study being done through a grant through Resilient New York, coming soon. We've been in touch. We've been giving them recommendations. The next project I wanted to mention, just again, sometimes it's small improvements to buy additional time during these significant rain events. The Midland Valley Drainage Basin, the DPW was beginning work today on restoring some of the curbing where it had been diminished or reduced over the past decade or so. So raising the curb along Midland, along that stretch between just south of Sycamore, which will be, again, helpful in keeping the water at the curb line continuing down to the catch basins and not running down below the homes into the easement area. So that work is ongoing. We're also working with the homeowners on building some additional concrete curbing around the drainage in the easement area so we can remove some of those sandbags. You know, I finally think we've been trying to get ourselves, I hate to say at least slightly at the water level, because now we finally have gone 6 weeks without an intense rain event. So we're kind of trying to play catch up. DPW is out there, they're working. So the next project I just want to mention is the Crawford Drainage Basin. Again, a very complex drainage basin that includes the eastern side of the village where we border land with the town of Eastchester, obviously stretching from Rose at the intersection with Crawford Street all the way down toward Duesenberry Archer. A large area, a lot of flooding. We've been having multiple meetings with the town of Eastchester engineers and our engineers. Again, a lot of back and forth between the engineers on analysis, but we will be meeting again or sending the latest plans to those groups that use both the nature preserve as well as the dog park, passive park there along Archer. But those drainage improvements that are planned have the potential to beautify those areas. They're going to continue to be used as park areas, but we will be opening up the existing conveyance channels, stormwater piping underground with open channels and some detention areas. And again, it'll help beautify the area. There'll be additional landscaping, but it'll be a more natural feature. And on that vein, we did submit an application through Congressman Bowman's office of the community project funding process, and we're hoping to receive some positive news on that. The other project I just wanted to mention, of course, the drainage plans for the Hamilton, Sussex, Homesdale area. Again, as the board knows, or might have expressed to the community as well, we retained an additional engineer, Falchetti and Associates, to review the hydraulic analysis, complete their own hydraulic analysis, review the hydrology analysis, also the previous, that our other consulting engineer prepared. Falchetti and Associates and Paul Palucio with Falchetti and Associates is quite familiar with the drainage in the village, given that they designed the pump system. So that analysis is ongoing, and we're looking at revising those plans with Phase 1, a short-term solution to address the immediate problem of the flooding at the intersection of Hamilton and Sussex. So again, we appreciate the community's patience. As those designs are finalized, we will meet with the neighborhood groups to explain the immediate short-term solution to address flooding in that area. And on that note, I should say I had a real productive meeting, on-site meeting with representatives of the Federal Emergency Management Agency and also the New York State Department of Homeland Security, believe it or not, which works with FEMA to assess these flooding areas. And we specifically walked the corridor along Hamilton and Sussex, as well as down along the Bronx River. And with their help, we should be able to receive funding for both these mitigation efforts down along the Bronx River, down along Paxton, as well as in Hamilton and Sussex, recognizing that those locations have suffered serious flooding, and we just need to make sure that with the improvements that we make are also in keeping with the requirements of FEMA. And again, details on those, and when we meet with the neighborhood groups, we'll have questions and answers. So anyway, sorry for that long explanation, but just wanted to make sure the community knew that we are working on a minimum of those 4 different locations, and we'll be meeting with the impacted groups in the coming weeks so we can get these projects moving.
Perfect.
That's all I had, sir.
Thank you. All right, then we go to the approval of the minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes. I think we'll approve them together. The executive work session meeting of April 8th, 2024, annual regular meeting of April 8th, 2024, and we had an additional work session relating to the budget, April 25, 2024. And again, thank you, Marianne. Terrific minutes. And do I have a motion to accept all minutes?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you again. Do I need, counsel, it's a continuation of the public hearing, so do I need a motion to reopen?
I guess I'll add that.
Okay. So I will make a motion to reopen the public hearing regarding sanitary sewer laterals, inspection, repairs, replacement, and maintenance. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All righty. Mr. Palmer, this is an ongoing process. We're trying to help, again, very related to our drainage issues.
Absolutely. And just as some additional background, the board introduced the draft ordinance at the March meeting, but we put a pause on it during the budget work sessions and adoption, but a copy of the draft local law is available on the village website. We've also posted information on it in the recent newsletters. So again, my recommendation would be that we keep the public hearing, we can roll it over to the following month, but we do ask for any comments or feedback. We did receive a limited amount of communication from one resident, and I absolutely appreciated the detailed time that he took in reviewing the local law. And again, for the community, the big picture is this draft local law, which has since been adopted by a few communities in Westchester, requires that, as is proposed, properties prior to sale or upon sale, or when a property completes $100,000 worth of improvements in a 2-year period, receive a certificate of compliance showing that their sanitary sewer lateral from their house to their street is in good working condition. So again, a copy of that local law is available on the website. The discharge compliance certificate would be issued by the building department, and that would be upon completion of the owner completing a sworn affidavit, a basic application, indicating that from a licensed plumber that their lateral is in good working condition. The notes that I just wanted to make something, and council did a review of the a letter that we received from a resident, and there were some policy questions that the board should think about over the course of the next meeting or so. One was, well, first there was a question as to the basis for the law from this resident, and I think it's important that we emphasize that compliance with sanitary sewer, the village absolutely has a direct obligation under our MS4 municipal stormwater system to make sure that we keep our sanitary sewer system entirely separate from our stormwater system. However, what's known as exfiltration, when the sanitary sewer line fails or has cracks and is leaching into the stormwater system. That happens, when that happens, the water enters the Bronx River, enters the tributaries, streams, etc. So, and they call that exfiltration. And the village we commit to complying with MS4 program is under the DEC. So likewise, if a homeowner has a lateral line that has cracks or deficiencies, it can percolate into the ground, thereby the storm sewer system. And as the board knows, we've been making an effort, well, for a very long time to ensure the integrity of the lines. So there's a basis for that, and likewise, within the law, you often hear the words inflow and infiltration, and that's more common, and that's when the sanitary sewer system, when there's cracks in the pipes, gets overwhelmed with stormwater into the sanitary sewer system. And that is equally as problematic because our sanitary sewage makes its way to county trunk facilities where the water is then treated and discharged. So often in the case of extreme events, you hear about Long Island Sound having to be closed. Long Island Sound or the Hudson River has to be closed to swimming because there are sanitary sewer discharges from those facilities, and there are discharges from those facilities because the sanitary sewer system is becoming overwhelmed with stormwater, and this is so we all need to make a coordinated effort in the county, the municipalities, homeowners, commercial property owners, to reduce stormwater from entering the sanitary sewer system. So I want to just emphasize that. Something we should still look at. Perhaps council and I can propose some legislation. I do think, Kevin, we should, well, first, we do have a compliance period of 5 years if someone's line has been televised or they did a sworn affidavit over the course of 5 years. We're not going to, wouldn't require it again before that. Other items that just wanted to mention, it might be worth considering maybe removing the requirement of, right now we're making the videography a mandatory, I think, as explains in the law. Maybe, again, we're requesting that homeowners have a sworn statement, so maybe that mandatory video is not necessary. We might want to think about modifying that.
Just a question.
Yeah.
Have Scarsdale or Rye encountered any feedback on their program to date, and are they considering any modifications that we know of? Just
Because they were ahead of us.
Yeah, they're ahead of us. They have practical experience,
Right.
you know, with actually administering it. So I'm just think it would be great.
It
to
wouldn't be
know.
bad to copy what works in our.
Right, and this is consistent with what they have. I will say Scarsdale, well, I don't know if they make the video, if that's mandatory. I looked at their documentation. They require a sworn affidavit. The application's relatively straightforward. I will say Scarsdale, to date, has issued 169 certificates of compliance since October 1. And they're using those same thresholds. That is $100,000 value and also homes upon transfer. We can, I don't know specifically if they require that video is mandatory. They didn't tell me about that, but and then the other suggestion that I think was valid in this one letter was in terms of commercial properties, if, and again, we could discuss this perhaps before our next work session, is there a benefit to requiring commercial property owners to perhaps have this, their lateral lines inspected in conjunction with a site plan review if they haven't. So just another note that I was making.
They don't sell as often.
Exactly. But their lateral lines equally as important. Again, it's, and as Scarsdale emphasized to me, it's about educating the community, and they had a whole program, they did a press release, they have an outside consultant. We put it on our website showing people what the lateral is, what it means. So anyway, those are just a couple of suggestions that I started to look at, because there was a very thoughtful letter, and council did review and made some comments as well. So some of those just get into some policy considerations that we can.
So net, we should keep the hearing open.
Yes.
And what we're trying to do is get the homeowner to help us keep the system in as good a shape, not only the public part of it, but the private part entering the system. And I think going forward, we have to have a good publicity campaign, because this is not the easiest thing to understand, but it's a way to, follow some of our neighbors who are doing it, because they have the same issues we do.
Right, and we would want, right, and on that point, educating the community also means going to the brokers, and this is something that Scarsdale did, so that educating the brokers to educate the homeowners. This is something that, look, homeowners prior to purchasing a home do a lot of these things now that was referenced in the letter with inspections, but I don't know that purchasers look at the condition of the sanitary sewer lateral, and that's something that they should be aware of.
So, Council, do I need to have a motion to keep this open, or is it automatically can be a continuation?
Just a motion to adjourn it to the next meeting.
That's how I would do it. Motion to adjourn.
Okay, I'll move to adjourn this to our June meeting.
And I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. No, it's very important we work together with our residents, because, personally, at some point, we have to start where we start, but I think we have to get not even transfer residents or large repair building permit numbers, but I think we have to get just about everybody involved.
Right, and there's nothing prohibiting someone from now, investigating their centers, so we would encourage that, absolutely. We just
Right.
want to have a mechanism
So,
to make it mandatory.
I mean, I know we have to start somewhere, I'm in agreement, but I
Yep.
think we have to include just about everyone.
Absolutely.
And we're encouraging written comments until next month.
Excellent, yeah, because we did get a particularly
Yeah.
very thoughtful comment that gave us some pause and some help. All right, new business. We have, I think, a very exciting resolution authorizing funding for streetscape improvements along Palmfield Road in front of the Bronxville School. I think people know that the school is looking at redoing the front of the school. I can be honest, I used to get a fair number of phone calls saying there wasn't much out in front of the school in terms of landscaping, trees. Some of it was not native. And the new superintendent, Superintendent Rachel Kelly, and the entire school board obviously embarked on a landscape plan, and the village board enthusiastically wanted to become a partner, because we know how, frankly, important the school is. I wish people moved here for the fabulous local government, but I'm pretty sure that's not the case. Anyway, we are partners with them, and they are not using any invasive plants, and our part is going, if you look in front of the school, there's the village right-of-way is a group of trees, some of which are healthy, some of which are not, some are small.
Many have outgrown the root bed area.
Right, we haven't looked at it. We're overdue to look at it, and the school kind of galvanized us to look at it. So we're going to do the village right-of-way part, And also it's going to have irrigation and I think a beautiful alley of trees. And I think of the Bronxville Conservancy who talked about the village historically is more than buildings. It's the topography, it's the plants, it's the trees. And I think the school's embarking on a really thoughtful plan. And we've all been, I know the three of us have been very heartily supportive of doing the village part.
And I would just like to add, Mayor, that
Yeah.
the school is also going to be moving the sidewalk. Right now, it leaves a very narrow tree bed area for the trees along Pondfield and along Midland. And they're
Yeah.
going to be moving the sidewalk closer to the new hedges that they put in, and they're going to make it larger. But it will leave a larger bed area for the trees, so the roots then will not interfere with the sidewalk. The roots will be in their own space. And it also is just not on Pondfield. There's also one tree that's going to be replaced on Midland as it turns the corner.
Good point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When is that work going to start?
Good question. I just told them that we were only able to approve it at a public
I just
board
wonder if it's gonna be,
session.
like after graduation, like this
They had-
summer, I don't think they're gonna
They
pull up
had
the
wanted,
sidewalk
they had
before.
wanted to get it done in time for graduation. I'm not sure of the exact timing, though.
Right.
Because they have not started the sidewalk
That seems
yet.
like a lot to do between now and
Right.
June,
And I think they knew our part had to be done at a public session like tonight, so.
So and the amount, just for people at
Yeah.
home, it's $64,100 worth of the tree removal, and the tree planting.
Right.
And getting the beds ready
And irrigation. All right. I would like to move that, and do I have a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes. And then this is something we have done that has worked out for us. It's the sale of surplus equipment. And Jim Palmer, I think it's a Chevrolet, Chief, was this something you owned? Was
His
this?
favorite old Tahoe, yes, the Tahoe that exceeded its useful life. Yes,
From 2015.
yes.
Okay,
But yes, it needed some repairs. So anyway, so that you just designated as surplus. And the good news is we've already put it up on the auction site and already got a positive response. So I won't say anything too negative about the vehicle.
Fine vehicle.
Yeah.
I read somewhere you're supposed to check the radio stations if you're buying a used vehicle. And depending on what they listen to, you can tell how hard they use the car. So put it on Symphony, Jim.
Yeah. QXR.
But seriously, this has turned out to be the best, the way we go to auction. We've made much more money on our
Yes.
equipment. So I just need a motion to authorize this sale. And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, motion passes. All right, we are authorizing the resolution to authorize the appointment of Michael Romano to the DPW. Jim, before I move it, would you like to mention Michael's a very interesting, we're lucky to have him, I think, employee.
He is, and he was, as we often do, we try to look in-house when we can, and he was a seasonal employee of the DPW for a period of time, but he was also a Concordia graduate and has a commercial driver's license. He also was a police officer in New York City, and he's resident of Yonkers, so also nice and close, and had previously also worked for the Eastchester DPW. So he's, yes, he's already been a tremendous asset, but really mature young man. Yep, who, like I said, also went to Concordia and graduated with his a degree in business administration. So.
And played college baseball there.
He did, yep. Before that, went to Iona Prep, but really mature young man that we were fortunate enough to have work for us, and yeah, and then wanted to come back to the village.
Perfect. So I move we authorize his hiring. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, opposed, motion passes. Welcome, Michael.
And I should say, it's, like with the police department, we have several retirements coming up in the DPW, so we'll have to bring those gentlemen and members of the department, both Phil Alfaro, Louis Sanita, both of whom have, almost more than 3/4 of a century of service to the village.
Yeah.
So they're going to be, one's going to be retiring soon, one will be retiring later in June. So anyway, other openings in DPW, but we'll have to have them in. It just, sometimes, and of course the residents absolutely appreciate the sanitation team, but they come in early and they don't miss a day, and I always say it's like, Ford, it's like coming to work is job one,
Yeah.
and they do in all sorts of weather, so appreciate that. There'll be losses, but Mike seems like he's really up to the challenge, so.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Now we have another resolution authorizing some increases in certain parking fines. And we looked at our neighbors, our peers, and we realized we were percentage-wise a fair bit behind. And these are certain areas, quite frankly, that we're responding to comments from our residents. As example, our double parking was at $70, and we're going to raise it to $100 just to be in step with our peers. Fire hydrant parking, $70 to $100. Improper parking, crossing the yellow line on your space, which often happens when you do a crossing the double yellow line, that will go up from 35 to 50. And no parking in the bus stop, again, will go from 35 to 50. So not only are we kind of keeping pace with our neighbors, but these were certain violations that, quite frankly, happen a fair bit in the village. Trustees or Jim, any other comments?
I would say that, when we look through these, I think all the trustees and the village administrator shared the thought that we don't want to penalize people for, going downtown and patronizing our merchants and, parking and then going over 5 minutes. We don't want to, double people's fines for issues like this. These are really issues that are kind of
Safety.
yeah, safety and keeping our downtown functioning smoothly and, people parking where they're expected to and not crossing double yellows, not parking across lines. So it's just an attempt to make it a better use for everybody.
And I think the staff did a great job. They looked at 10 different communities.
Right.
In addition to ourselves, obviously, as a benchmark. And we were below the average in many of these spots where we're going up to the average.
Exactly. You're right, we are truly only going up to the
Right.
average.
Yeah. And to that point, though, right, that we're not increasing the fine for an expired meter. But,
No.
But if someone's, but the community has told you that, look, they're concerned about the double parking, the triple parking, and our fine is going to be on the higher side with this list of communities, but we have an active downtown, and if you double park, the fine's now going to be $100. Likewise, there's been some violations of handicap parking, someone parking in a handicap spot without the appropriate tag, hang tag, and that fine is going to $130. Likewise, the fire hydrant, as you said. So hopefully it provides a little bit of a disincentive.
So do I have a motion to authorize these increases?
Go ahead. So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. All right, and Helen, you might want to talk about the next is a resolution authorizing the establishment of an energy benchmarking policy for municipal buildings.
Okay, well, this was, I think, a fascinating statistic here, or fact, that buildings are the single largest user of energy in the state of New York. And so, you know, the fact that inefficient buildings are much more costly and use a lot more energy than the highest performing buildings. So all the work that members of the Community Smart, Climate Smart Communities Task Force has done over the past couple of years to put together the Municipal Climate Action Plan. We have a lot of data on our municipal buildings and what kind of energy uses they have. So this resolution is basically committing us to take this data that we have and benchmark it so that we can, once we collect and report and share building energy, if we do it on a regular basis, it helps us better understand the energy performance of our buildings. And then with this information and with this benchmarking system, we'll be able to kind of evaluate how efficient our buildings are and if there are measures that we can take to reduce costs and improve efficiency. So this benchmarking program basically means that every year the village administrator or his designated representative will take the data, electricity, fuel oil usage, natural gas, you know, all the different kinds of energy uses, and input them into this system, the Energy Star Portfolio Manager, which is an internet-based tool developed by the EPA that basically tracks and evaluates the energy performance of buildings nationwide. So this particular software tool will identify opportunities to cut costs and reduce pollution. This was also part of, doing this benchmarking was part of our Municipal Climate Action Plan that we passed. It will give us increased points towards the CEC program and the CSC program, hopefully enabling us to increase our status from silver, from bronze to silver, and also helps us accumulate points for eventual grants. So Jim, did I miss anything on that?
No, I think, no, and like you said, I think the goal would be at a future meeting then, we'll put forth a proposal to purchase the building management system, the software system. Yeah. The only thing I would just suggest that in discussing with Carol Upshur earlier, I'll just change the start of the benchmarking period to May 31 of 2024. I put 2025 down, but we should have all that data that we can input it in the next couple of weeks to start a little bit sooner. So it'd be 2024
And then the disclosure and publication will be September.
Will be September 24. If you can remember that for me, Mary Ann, just to make that the change in the date, to change it from 2025 to 2024, because again, as Trustee Knapp said, a lot of that work has already been done, and the team has been studying the energy data. So,
and we just want to thank. Am I too far away from me? Okay. Okay. Okay.
And it's a big thank you to the Green Committee.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
All right, it's yours.
you say it.
It's yours.
Take it. No.
This whole board feels that way. Ellen Edwards is here, the chairman, and the one of her team, Carol Upshur, really galvanized us on this particular aspect of the green work. So thank you to the whole green team, and you, Ellen Edwards and Carol Upshur in particular.
And Maria Turgenev, yeah.
Yes, and Maria.
they're holding us to task. There's a lot of information we
Yeah,
have to read.
no, it's a
Ellen's,
lot of
hard
details
work
and it's a
through.
lot of options and steps to take. So yeah, having your all guidance on that is invaluable.
So I do need a motion to authorize
Right,
this.
but this resolution in summary says that we're committed to doing this, but we need to then purchase the software in order to actually implement it.
Correct.
You don't have to purchase the software. It's the EPA provides it for free. It's right online.
Yeah, so do we need another resolution to adapt the software? Or I thought,
No, I'm sorry, no,
Yeah.
so, no, this is, that system we already have to input it, no, but what we are gonna come forward with you at a future point in time will be to fund a building management system that
Oh, yeah.
literally will be a manual system on our buildings that will be a more automated system for controlling our energy consumption for the buildings.
Yeah.
And that is something that, again, with this, completing this resolution, we get additional points, additional funding.
and a major reduction in,
Right.
in carbon emissions.
And it's closer actually to $100,000. I mean, it starts to, Stephen's gonna have a lot of data input when he gets back, but the point is, we'll be able to purchase that system under grant funds to basically turn the lights off, get more timers, get it more automated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all this data that is included in the benchmarking will be available to the public, so, it's a database that is accessible by anybody.
Yep, right, and the goal is hopefully we're gonna continue to see our consumption go down when we put that management system in place and turn out the lights automatically in the
So this will
simplest
be
sense.
the Village Hall, the library, and the DPW, correct?
Well, Village Hall, the DPW, I will say, is pretty automated, but yes,
But we'll- the
yes,
data-
all
the
the
data
all the
input,
data, yes, yes, yep,
But our three main buildings.
yes, yes.
Helen, would you like to move this?
I would like to move this. I move that we pass the resolution establishing the energy benchmarking requirements for certain municipal buildings.
I'll second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And finally, our last new business resolution is authorizing funding for a website upgrade. Last time we did this was 2019, which 5 years in the world of websites
Like, yep.
is a lifetime. And we have a quote of $21,584.05 to upgrade and host the village website, annual maintenance for the next 4 years, $7,155. And these are costs comparable to our neighbors, and they will be paid from the unassigned general fund balance.
Can I
So,
have a quick question about that before we?
sure.
So the design and the type of data that's inputted then into the website do we control that, or we
Yes.
input it into a?
Sure. So, and the way this works is, so we're going from a web open platform to a web central platform, which is it's basically comparable to like upgrading your iPhone by 10 iPhones ago. So so Mary Ann does an amazing job at managing our website. And this will give us a lot more flexibility to continue to do more in-house. We're utilizing the same company. This is technically an exempt service from quotes, but we use Civic Plus now. They're the principal web design company, if you will, in the area for municipalities in the entire Northeast. But yes, going to this new platform is going to give us a lot more flexibility, will allow us to manipulate a lot more. Our buttons, tabs become more user-friendly, more pictures, put calendar right. So Mary Ann and I already have some great ideas. We're looking at some of our colleagues that just recently went through this whole process. We're going to sit down with Trustee Barons and make sure you're all comfortable with it. But again, the goal is to put more information out there, organize it better, make it more user-friendly, and do more in-house.
And so
Easier
will
to find things.
more data be searchable?
Yes, yes, and less clicks. It's all about clicks. But yes, and it's so. And our plan is to. I guess we'll set that in stone now to be able to launch it by the first of the new year. Yeah. So we've been getting a lot of feedbacks. But now, yes, there's limitations, and we have to. Mary Ann has to reach back out to Civic Plus and say, can you change this piece for me? It's not something that she could do. in-house.
Is this related to what we've talked about, you know, like updating the building department records? So more of that is accessible and on a database, or that's a separate, totally separate project?
It'll certainly help with the capability of it. We do, the village does have a lot of records on Laserfish already, but yes, all that will help. Actually, and one of the even better features is we've been in, now that the chief is back, I want him to get a demo on their email notification system, including their emergency notification system. They have, like all these companies, they have a notification system, but as you know, ours has been clunky because we have residents that have to sign up for 2 systems. And so ideally, we would be using one communication tool that could be not only for emergency notifications, but for whether or not someone wants library news, village hall news, et cetera.
Our newsletter.
And the newsletter. But part of that is also how user-friendly it is for us and the mobile app and being able to send those notifications out swiftly, quickly, if you will. So we're getting demos on that piece, too.
All right, then to Mary, would you like to move this?
Yeah, I'd like to move $21,584.05 for an upgraded website for the village that's long overdue.
Perfect.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And before I open it to any public comment, that's the end of our new business. I just wanted people to know that our work session was with the police chief and Lieutenant DeYoung talking about issues. We want everyone to come shop in the village, eat in the village, but we want people to feel safe, have less congestion, make sure there's not double, triple parking, scooter issues. We're very much aware of the spring months and the activity that brings to the village and how we can make it here hospitable, welcoming, but at the same time, make it as enjoyable as possible while recognizing all the people that have to work here. So after we speak to our colleagues, I think we'll be sharing some ideas or some changes in the village. One right off the bat is our community policing. Now that we have added to our police force, we will have someone in the downtown from 8 a.m. till midnight on most days, and I think that's going to have a huge positive change. That's just the one thing I can say I know our colleagues who are not here are in total agreement with. But we're listening, we hear you, and we're just trying to make the village as welcoming and as easy to navigate as possible. Trustees, anything we left out? Any comments from anyone here tonight? No? Seeing none? Mr. Palmer, when is our date in June? I never know when I adjourn until
June 10th. Yes.
June 10th. All right.
10th, yep. And I should say, for that meeting, I think hopefully we'll have many members of the police department there to introduce some of the new
To meet
hires.
some of the new officers that people might already hopefully meet on Palmfield Road.
And
So
celebrate some promotions within the police department.
Yes.
that's such a good point. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn until June 10th?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. We got a lot done.
We don't need them.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.